What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and something interesting happened, and well, we all think we know where this is going. So, what happened anyway? Well, as the video title has no doubt already told you, Nintendo have renewed and filed a patent for the Nintendo 64 controller here in Europe. Now, this is potentially huge. It's also not potentially huge. A lot of places are focusing on it and kind of hinting at something, which we'll get to in a second, which could possibly be true. Yes, definitely, most definitely that could be possibly true. There's also something that many places are completely neglecting, and there's a reason why that's important as well. So let's look at the positive side of it. First off, this means, yes, with this patent file, it could potentially mean they're gearing up for Nintendo 64 Classic and Nintendo 64 Mini, whatever you want to call it, depends on wherever you live in the world. And the fact that before the NES Classic released, they did the same thing with the NES controller. And then before the SNES Classic released, or well, was announced, they did the same thing with the SNES controller. And now they're doing it with the N64 and the N64 controller, potentially. So there's credence for some of the stuff that all these places are just spouting off without thinking. So yeah, that's good. That's potentially great, because for multiple reasons. One, if they do this, yes, the Nintendo 64 was a good system. Unfortunately, Nintendo went with the cartridges, and it basically suffered a pretty much of a grim fate because of it. But the problem is, or not the problem, the baseline is that there's damn good games on the N64. Some of the greatest games ever made. One of the best 3D platformers, if not the best 3D platformer ever made, was on the Nintendo 64 with Super Mario 64. Super Mario Kart 64 is, again, one of the best Mario Kart, and I won't call it racing games because I don't consider Mario Kart racing, but one of the best games of the best games of that genre of all time. GoldenEye. Enough said. You don't even need to talk about GoldenEye. If you have experience with GoldenEye, you know what I'm talking about when I say GoldenEye. Perfect Dark to an extent. The list goes on. I could sit here going through the whole list and all, but that's a whole other video that I've already made somewhere. And the point is that, yeah, it'd be a good thing if we could get a Nintendo 64 Classic with a bunch of games. And here's the cool thing. Because of the way they've done the SNES and NES controllers, you know, the ones that you just plug them into the bottom of the Wiimote, that if they do a Nintendo 64 controller with that connection, there's never been an official Nintendo controller that had that connection on it as an N64 style one, which would be cool for several reasons. Because one, you can go back to your Wii and your Wii U and play your N64 games with what's basically an N64 controller, which would also be cool. I think that would be a great side of it, because I know with the NES Classic controllers, I use them, and the odd time I play a little bit of a NES Virtual Console game. I already have one of the SNES controllers, an official Nintendo SNES Wii controller, whatever we'll call it, and there's two coming with the SNES Classic. So now we'd be able to have four of them, or whatever, the N64 has 4 ports, probably won't come with 4 controllers, but I'd imagine they'd fairly beef up the production of spare controllers if, for a system that's designed around 4 players. Hell, it's arguably the first proper system with 4 built-in controller ports that doesn't need a multi-tap. So chances are we'll see an announcement sometime probably next summer and a release sometime the end of next year. That's just a complete guess and prediction. Now, here's an important thing that many places are neglecting to say, okay? Nintendo could be refiling this trademark to prevent, because it's basically lapsed, and Nintendo want to hold on to it. So, in theory, it could just be them renewing it just to keep it, if that makes sense, because they don't want to lose it, and then, I know it's never going to happen, but, then Sony releasing a mock controller with that layout, because the patent is filed, Nintendo can't claim it, so Nintendo are just going to want to keep it going and keep it for themselves, which again makes sense. So while I think it's more in line with actually gearing up for a Nintendo 64 Classic, I think it is more realistic that they're going that route rather than just filing it to keep it going. I think that's an extra benefit, but we'll see. There's a couple more months before the SNES Classic comes out, probably about a year and a couple of months before a potential N64 Classic comes out, but I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not getting overhyped for it because we literally don't know anything about it, and we don't even know if it exists. We don't know if it will exist. We're going off something that has alternative uses right now. So, everyone keep your expectations low. Feel free to hope. I know I am, but don't take this as a godsend, and don't take this as a definitive answer that Nintendo will be doing Nintendo 64 Classic. So let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you think Nintendo are doing it just to retain the trademark, if you think they're doing it to gear up for a Nintendo 64 Classic, or if you think they're doing it for both reasons, for trademark and Nintendo 64 Classic. Let me know all of that in the comment section below. Hit the like button. Also, as well as, will you be getting a Nintendo 64 Classic if it exists? Let me know all of that, comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.